On week 8 of playing Minecraft every day, I learned to love lava and also began a hunt for lots of copper. But first, let's continue with the big base build on day 50. Continuing on with the big base build, I started off by bringing the build back down to the water level with lots and lots of mossy blocks. So many, in fact, that I needed to go back to the vine farm and make use of it to be able to craft some more mossy cobblestone. I then continued the build with another block down into the water. At this point, I'm not settled on how much further under the water the build will go, but I think I will need to add some big support columns underneath at some point. I also added a little platform at water level to make working in and out of the water much easier, before moving on to the top of the platform. To make the design look a little bit more natural, I tapered in the mossy sections of the sides along the top of the main platform, creating a look like the moss has been spreading up from the water and is slowly spreading out over the main platform. I'm also filling in the gaps between the moss with regular stone bricks, mixed with the occasional cracked stone bricks. I did find myself running out of mossy stone bricks, and I don't think you can craft them, so I went back to the stronghold to do a little bit more digging to get the blocks that I need, and also did battle once more with the local silverfish. I got the rest of the mossy blocks down and filled in the gaps in between until my time for the day ran out. I got started with my super professional stream this week over on twitch.tv/Mollytron by heading to the stronghold to gather some more stone bricks and all of their variants. And of course, the sneaky silverfish that live in the walls made sure to pay me a visit and bite my toes. Whilst doing this, I took a moment to set up a custom alert of a creeper hiss, and my chat wasted no time in using it, giving me a very good jump scare.
I'll get up to 6, 7, 8 sometimes. Oh, oh. Who could that be?
I then took the blocks back to the big old pentagon and got to work filling in the gaps that remain on top of the big shape. I was talking to chat about how I want a lava farm for a better furnace fuel, but I haven't yet found the dripstone needed to make such a thing reality. They encouraged me to try and find an azalea tree, because that will lead me to some lush caves, and apparently they very commonly spawn next to dripstone caves. So off on a quick adventure I went.
I think there was one like over here. Maybe that's even it. Yeah, there it is. Azalea. Let's have a quick look. Ugh.
I found the azalea tree that I had previously used the rooted dirt from.
How far down do you reckon it is? Before I start finding the cave that's supposed to be here.
And then kept digging down further and further.
There's water! What does that mean? I don't know. Keep following the dirt. Oh, moss! That's a good sign, right? Oh! Okay.
Eventually coming out into a lush cave.
It's a nice cave. I'm not seeing any drippy boys, though. Whoa.
It was actually quite spectacular. A big open room with some suspended mineshaft platforms being overgrown by the glowberry vines and the other plants that come with the lush cave biome. Whilst exploring the caverns of this area, I actually managed to find an amethyst geode, so I cracked into it and then took down the coordinates of this spot so I could find it later.
I found an amethyst before I found dripstone.
Moments later, I found the thing I was looking for.
Is this it? Dripstone! Hooray! Look at this. Well done, guys.
Dripstone! Lots and lots of dripstone. I gathered a few stacks of the pointed dripstone and then headed back home.
Here's me thinking I was just going to do some building. Is that the sky? City cat, we don't have to dig up.
It seemed silly to go this far and not build the lava farm, so I quickly got to work by placing down lots of cauldrons for collecting the lava, and then built up a dripstone block platform before adding the spiked dripstone underneath. I then made a quick trip to the nether to gather a few buckets of lava to fuel the farm, and unloaded the buckets onto the top of the dripstone.
Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Oh,
With the farm running,
it's working!
I then went to do a little bit more building work on the big base before finishing up my time in Minecraft for the day by doing a quick repair run in the end. I wanted to get started today by crafting some stone bricks for filling in the big hole that is still sitting in the middle of the big base build. But I need an efficiency 5 silk touch pick to make use of the beacon to collect stone. So I actually started by crafting a new diamond pick. I enchanted it on the enchantment table and then combined it with another pick to get the enchantments that I need. I then went down into the mine and made good use of the beacon power to dig out lots and lots of stone. So much in fact that I used up all of the durability on my shiny new pickaxe. So I took a quick trip to the end to use the XP farm to repair it. I then crafted up the stone bricks and got back to work on the big base build. After spending a bunch of time placing blocks, the main platform was finally done. So I switched gears and I went back to my fancy new lava farm to expand its capabilities. I made the lava holding platform bigger and then made a bunch of trips up and down to use the lava being generated by the farm to help it grow. This was proving to be a bit slow, so I made a quick trip to the nether and I filled my inventory with buckets of lava. I've learned that it's not that clear, especially once there's a bunch of lava in a pool like this, exactly where the lava sources are and are not. So I grabbed a potion of fire resistance and I waded through the lava, fixing up the patches where I could see the lava flowing until the whole surface was nice and steady. I then started moving some of the buckets of lava over to my smelting setup before logging off for the day by admiring my lava farm. I spent so much time there watching the beautiful fiery drips that a bunch of the cauldrons actually filled up. So I scooped up the lava with some buckets to get a decent supply for my mini super smelter setup thingy. With farms on the mind, I went to check on some of my other farms. I gathered the goods and once again replaced the hopper minecart that keeps disappearing from underneath the melon and pumpkin farm. With some fresh and juicy farm goods in tow, I visited my villagers for a little bit of trading time. Next, I got all of the sugarcane from the sugarcane farm and crafted it into paper to trade with the librarians. I was then putting some of the stuff away and I noticed a bunch of ore blocks that I had previously collected. So I placed them down and used my fortune pick to get as much as possible from each block. I took the raw metals to my now lava-fueled furnace array, and of course made sure to visit the lava farm to grab a few buckets of the hot stuff. Then, after tidying up a little in my main base, I visited the librarians and reorganized the enchanted books that I was storing to make it easier to see what I have on hand. Thrilling stuff, I know. Some more structure to my big base build in the form of some big old pillars. I designed them a while ago to look good but be easily repeatable to make building them a fairly easy process. It's all made out of stone brick variants. There's a small pedestal at the bottom made of stone brick blocks and slabs, and then the main structure of the pillar is a cross pattern of stone brick blocks with stone brick walls in the corners. It gives a slightly rounded look and feel, which I think looks pretty good. I built the central pillar up 30 blocks and then put a cap on top. It's designed to be the same as the base, but reversed. Rinse and repeat 4 more times, and suddenly the big base is starting to look a little bit grandiose in design. Maybe one day I'll finish it and move in. The work on the big base build, it's time to connect the pillars of the pentagon at the top. This is basically the very start of what will eventually be the roof. I started by building up the top of one of the pillars and adding a simple detail of an inverted stair over a regular stair. It creates this little inset notch thingy that adds a little bit of interest to a build. I then started building out between the towers before adding the stair detail to the connecty bits. The idea being to add this continuous notch around the whole top of the build. It was quite tricky to line up the connecty bits between the pillars because I was trying to connect the edge of the top of the tower to the edge of the top of another tower. So whilst there was one straight line, the rest of them were at a funny angle, and I found that copying the same pattern as the edges of the platform did not work for solving this problem. This was such an issue that in a later episode I will actually tear down one of the big connecting platformy bits and completely rebuild it because the original one I built was really wonky. Anyway, this was a super time consuming task, but I managed to get it all done today. Having used up pretty much all of my stone bricks after the last couple of days whilst building up the big base, the prolific pentagon, my soon-to-be happy house, I got to work at the start of today by going to my beacon area and digging out a bunch of stone to craft into stone brick blocks and the variants. I then finished up a couple of spots that I missed yesterday that still needed the clever pattern that uses the couple of stair blocks to create a little inset detail. Next, I wanted to add a row of copper to the top of the base, but I needed to find some more ore to make lots of blocks. I went around my mining area and found a couple of stacks worth, but not really much, because I have been through and found lots of the obvious stuff. So, whilst my first lot was cooking, I flew around my local area looking for caves that might have copper ore easily accessible. I eventually found a pretty big cave that has lots of interesting details, like an exposed and suspended mine shaft, and my first encounter with the new skulk blocks in the deep dark. I got the achievement for sneaking near a skulk sensor, and then I noticed there were lots of sensors and shriekers nearby, and I really don't want to get in trouble with the warden without being more prepared. So I skedaddled right out of there and went back to my furnaces to process the copper ore that I had managed to find. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to keep up with my videos. Likes and comments tell the algorithm to show my videos to more people, so that's always a big help too.